Oh my fucking god, will this episode just start off with just pure crazy action. This whole fight right now is just completely insane between Archer and Saber going against Berserker. It's like Illyia deal is like when she just introduced herself and you just knew that she was just gonna be intimidated. It's like just how like freaking just like scary it just sounds the way she's sort of like bowing next to this giant behemoth monster, and it's just like Saber just goes in trying to take out Berserker. Even Archer from the background is there shooting arrows and they're doing nothing to this guy. And it's like Saber has to take this to another battlefield. She has to take this to like a graveyard. It's like Berserker don't get no shit, mashing through like all the gravestones like they're nothing, and I'm like, holy shit. This thing like sounds like an absolute monster when it like just bellowing its roars like that. It just sounds like this unholy, just demonic beast like that, and it's just like throughout this whole fight it was just like absolutely insane. They were exchanging blows. Hell, even a Rin was going in fighting Illyia when she was using familiars, which is like, if people have seen Fate Zero, you know that is a resemblance to something that we've seen from the series already, and a lot of big hints as well if you've ever seen the other routes as well. Also, I just want to point out as well that this fight is completely different from the original Dean route like that they did. They did the Fate route. This is a completely different version of the fight, and I've got to say there was a lot more. I'm kind of like happy that in this fight that actually like we get to see, you know, Rin's power going against Illyia deal. That's show like the huge difference like between the two is that you actually see like Rin is using all the crystal magic just to try and get in like with the gems and stuff like that, and Illyia just using like these other familiars, and she's like just there so easily to create other ones like they're nothing, and it's like even had to have Archer save her by using like one of the arrows, and it just shows, damn, Archer's got a good shot. If he's like there from a skyscraper from the other side of the building and he is making accurate shots, I'm like, god damn, this is crazy. I did also like in this episode that we did get to see, you know, Shiro manning up. At first he was just like arm on the floor and he's saying, I just said I'm going to join this war, I'm going to fight like that. And although we didn't see anything of him, I did appreciate that we was able to see him, you know, grow up in like a bit and saying, you know, let's go. And it's like just so much craziness. Not to mention as well, we saw as well Kotomine as well having that talk with that blonde guy that we saw at the start of the series. Now, for people, anime only watchers and all that, just a quick theory and all that, what do you think the relationship between these two and all that? I don't want no spoilers in the comment section down below for anime only, since I've seen Fate Zero, I've seen Stay Night, I know what's going on, but it's like, for you anime only watchers, I don't want you to get spoiled, so I would like to hear your theories down below and in the comment sections to see what's up with those two, because definitely it seems like these two have got a very interesting relationship and all that, and saying like what exactly they're going to do with each other, so I really did like that about this episode, that it's sending build up with like Kotomine and everyone, and it was just very interesting. Not to mention we saw the end of that fight when we saw Saber, she's using that noble fantasy and she's pulling out the sword. It's like, prepare to meet your end, like that, and she pulls the sword and it's like it blows freaking Berserker's like pretty much his head, his half of his body clean off just through this sword, and you're like, this is why Saber is the strongest one of all of them, of all the servants, and it just shows how strong he is. But it's like Berserker getting up from that, he's regenerating, and they're like, what is this? It's like time manipulation or something like that. And Archer's just like, this is my shot. This is my shot. As he pulls a bow, he pulls out this giant, like, weird little spear thing, and he fires, and it's like, let me get a shot on this bastard. And he just fires the bow, and it just wrecks him. And I'm like, Illyia was like, oh, that's enough for one day, Berserker. Like, I was like, oh, it took those 2 hits, and it is still strong as fuck. I was like, oh my god, what is up with this thing? But you see at the end, you know, like pretty much Shiro like passes like the clean fuck out. I'm getting like using a lot of his mana because she just used a phantasm right there. So it was like definitely a very interesting thing, and I've got to say, really enjoyed this episode. Animation phenomenal, art phenomenal, animation insanely good and all that, and it was just like a lot of build up, a lot of fighting, and overall I'm loving it. I'm loving, you know, I'm loving Unlimited Blade work so far. So far, a very strong impression so far from episode 0 to 3. Honestly, I'm going to give this one a 9. Like, a 9 to a 10. This episode was amazing. It was just absolutely crazy. Loved it. But that's all for me. I want to thank you very much for watching as always. And let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But that's all for me. So I'll see you guys next time.